Hello, this is the Nuclear Rabbit, and today I am recording a Javazon, and we start off as usual by fighting Rockanishu and running away from him a lot, because Rockanishu really hurts, as you can tell from the lightning bolts. This is just going to be a Lightning Fury Javazon. I thought I had done this video already, so I kind of just didn't do it ever. But I checked my channel and I hadn't done this one yet, so figured it should be up there. It's one of the best builds in the game after all, so this is the definite cow runner, for instance. And we start off by just using a random javelin and just hurling at stuff. And it takes a while, but Rockanishu goes down and he gives us a lot of experience, so I just start farming him some more. One of the best ways in the early game to get some gear is just by using a topaz in a helmet, get something going. I also use a sapphire to get some more mana, because the skills will be very mana intensive. And because the good lightning skills are all very high level requirement, we start off as a poison javelin build. And we go and farm the counters using the poison. And I'm using power strike to jab them here. You can tell I'm doing a lot of damage. And I end up finding a rare javelin thanks to the chipped topaz, and it has 10 IAS. And the most important thing in the game for this character is increased attack speed. All you want is increased attack speed. So I farm the counters a bunch and I end up getting my Rel or Tal and my Tal Eth, and now I need a Horadric Cube. I also go in and imbue some boots, because I usually just flat out forget. I get really good boots with faster run walk, MF, dual res. And I get a MF amulet as well. And that brings us to Andariel, who we will show who the Poison Queen is. And there's the Horadric Cube, so now I get to make some runes. I use 3 Ral runes to make an Earth rune, so I can make Ral or Tal, which grants me an Ancient Pledge. That is just a shield you can finish the game with, no questions asked, you can just easily do that. I also make a Stealth as usual, and then for Duriel I go ahead and drink some Kool-Aid. And you can already start to tell how unbelievably powerful the lightning skills are for boss killing, because this is Duriel and that's Duriel, that's it. I end up finding a Hussarus belt, which is one of the best belts you can find in the early game. Just a bunch of fire resist, enough slots. The Ormus ring is also very nice with some lightning resist. And at this point you can already start to tell that the lightning skills are just that powerful. Like, I'm 2 and 3 shotting the council. That's insane. And here we have Mephisto. Then it's time for the Hellforge, who I punch one more time for shits and giggles. And Nith rune, nothing that matters in normal, but it's nice to have the gems. So in normal I usually do it for the gems. In Nightmare I usually just go for the rune. Also very easily clear out the Chaos Sanctuary. The amount of damage this does to solo enemies is insane. I think that's a 2-hit boss kill. Well, at this point I am using Charged Strike, by the way, which is just Charged Bolt but on a javelin, and it always hits with every single bolt, which makes the damage go absolutely nuts. Like, that's 2-hit Infector. Time for the Diablo fight. Now we are just very easily taking down Diablo here, as you can tell. There's not even a problem, not even a threat. This character just absolutely demolishes everything, and especially in normal. And this is why you want the IAS so badly. If you're doing this much damage, just hitting more often is absolutely worth it. And the plus skills you can get on javelins is nice and all, but you don't really need it for the main game. Like, if you want to min-max the absolute living fuck out of this, you can go for like 640s and stuff. I don't have them, but you can. But even the minions of destruction, who usually are just a giant problem, go down quite easily. Even though this is players 8, I mean, there are a lot of characters that cannot deal with them on players 8, and I'm not having that much trouble. It's taking a while because they're insanely tanky. Like, the minions of destruction are a harder fight than Bale usually, which is kind of stupid, but also kind of, I don't know, like a nice test before you go to Bale. Like, Bale is the freedom ticket, but even on players 8 you just see the damage demolishing, and look at the amount of experience that gives. I mean, that's like 2 full blocks of experience worth. And it's time for the Bale fight, and as you can tell, Charged Strike is just hitting with everything because Bale is just that big. So with one bolt you're, for instance, dealing like 1 to 15 damage or 1 to 50, something in that range. But because you're dealing 9 bolts, you're hitting for so much more. I also end up finding these gloves from Bale with 10 IAS, cold resist, and MF and lightning resist. But I upgraded to a Shale Eth, a Rhyme, and I use this because it has cannot be frozen. And I'm using the ethereal version because A, it looks cooler, and B, it doesn't matter. You will not go through your ethereal item in a normal playthrough unless it's a weapon. I mean, I always hear people saying like, oh no, I have an ethereal Shaco and I have an ethereal this and an ethereal that. Those items can last you months. rounds if you're careful. I end up finding a 4-socket partisan in the Andario catacombs. Not like there are any other catacombs, but you know what I mean. And once again, we just mow down Andario. We find a Twitch throw from her, so that's why our armor is green now. And then we head towards Duriel, because nothing is stopping us in Nightmare. And just look at that life total just going down. It's so fast. And that is my life total dropping down so fast, because oh man, dolls are so scary as always. So now I'm using Lightning Fury as well, which means that I'm just hitting everything on the screen. And if there's dolls, they all explode at the same time, which yeah, when everything explodes, things get messy. And for the council, yeah, just walk in and poke them. They will die very easily. And the amount of damage this build puts out is insane, but you do need to be careful though, things hurt. And here we have Sinbang, which is quite the name. It's very big, and Greybang as well, quite the name. I mean, is it an adult movie? Is it a Diablo boss? Who knows? And here we have Lightning Enchanted Conviction Council, and as you can tell, my mercenary just evaporated on the spot. And that is because this is absolutely terrifying. This is one of the scariest combinations in the game, as you can tell, because my life total is like a yo-yo at the moment. And with that, we head towards Mephisto, who is basically a freebie. I mean, I don't even bother getting new pods. It just doesn't matter. You're just that powerful with this build. Oh, by the way, I'm casting amp damage because my javelin just had random amp damage trigger on it, and I just upgrade my javelin wherever I can find it. And in the series of Is It an Adult Movie or a Boss in Diablo, here we have a Flame Bang, and that's the first lightning immune, and you can tell this just slows to a halt at that point. So I re-roll the map and end up getting souls, who are very much interested in seeing who can deal the most lightning damage, and I have a problem because it's not me. So I just walk back, step out to the outer steps, get it. Second time I end up getting the damned here as well, which is just annoying, but I can jab them down. They're not that powerful, so I end up deciding to run through the city of the damned. And this is something I don't recommend doing. Just take your time, but I can be quite an impatient little goblin, so yeah, I kind of get myself stuck here as well. But do manage to get out. And this is just a crash course on how not to do the City of the Damned, because yeah, this is just insanely dangerous. Don't do this. End up going back to find Isual, and I end up finding a head striker in there. And then it's Hephasto time, and basically he just needs to not punch me because fanaticism makes him hurt really bad. And it's Hellforge time. Again, punch it one more time. The best thing you can get is a Lem Rune in my opinion, because that gets you treachery. And then we move along towards Diablo Nightmare, who just shoots over our head. I've mentioned this a bunch of times, but I'm gonna mention it again just to make it complete. In Nightmare and Hell, they made it so Diablo has more range, but what they did was just drag the range out, so you can just stand next to him, like ride it up in his crotch and be like unhittable. I end up finding Bartox as well, and they're pretty okay, like 194 and 5 is fine. Don't really use Bartox. Like all of these items are like Bartox and stuff are really cool, but I just never use them. Like what am I gonna do with that? But usually I go for the Act 2 Mercenary because it gets you the Holy Freeze and the Mana Aura with the Insight, but because I found the Head Striker and it's just the literal best weapon in the game for this Mercenary, I figured let's use the Act 5 Mercenary. He's also very tanky, so I can just stand here while he punches down Korlik and I just actually deal damage to Korlik. And same goes for Maddock. We just corner him and beat him to a pulp, and after that we annihilate Talik as well. So we're level 55 now, which is a very high level, but it's just so easy to kill stuff on players 8 with this character that I've been playing way more players 8 than usual. And I almost died to a doll, and I use my decoy to make the Minions of Destruction take longer to get to me, which is all it needs to do. There's also a bug with the decoy where if you spawn it in, it just gains more life until it falls out and goes to 0. I don't exactly know how it works, but use it if you want to. Like decoy can be insanely tanky. Like people use it to tank Ubers and stuff. Oh yeah, dolls and Lister and the Minions of Destruction together are just not great. Let's put it like that. Not ideal. But the amount of experience is just so worth it no matter what. And here once again a boss fight. It's Bill, and yeah, what can I say? Charge Strike just absolutely fucking obliterates it while my mercenary takes a coffee break over there. And now he takes a nap. And with that we are a conqueror and we are ready to go and prepare for hell. So we make a spirit, and you're thinking like, why do you want a spirit on a Javazon? I also buy 40 IAS javelins, by the way, because that's really all that matters. Like I literally just use blue javelins with 40 IAS over basically anything, but I'm using a spirit, so if I switch my weapon I can buff my stuff. That's basically it. I also make a piece so I can peace out and kill some cows. The piece is so I can get the +2 skills, obviously. I also found a Cow King's hide, which is an item I've never found on the channel before, so I figured I'd show it. And I end up gambling some amulets, end up 1 Amazon skill with 11 all res, going for a Shale IO Ord as well, because I need the lightning resist and the lightning absorb. So here we have it, Javazon Prime level 66, these are my stats, and it's time to get into hell. This is just the build, and I'm just buffing synergies. This is all that I'm doing with this. And my mercenary is using this rare helmet, a head striker, and this is just me showing off, like, this is the kind of gear I use to get into hell. Like, I'm using a blue ring and stuff. All you need really is resistances. So one thing I am absolutely terrified of though is the archers. So I just re-rolled that, and I had to watch the counters on the second attempt and get a Lum rune, which is something that if you don't want to use a piece, you can use a smoke. And I end up killing Antariel, and I get the battle boots, which are one of the most wanted boots in the game. It's War Travelers, but they do require 95 strength, so I'm not using them. Also, the roll is absolutely fucking atrocious. And I end up getting a Crown of Thieves as well, which is an excellent mercenary weapon. But one thing that this game does struggle with is the requirements on weapons and boots and stuff is so high. Like, you can use reasonable equipment at like 60 strength, so why would you ever sacrifice 35 strength to get to like War Travelers? If you can use boots with like resist and run, but like 20 MF less, I mean, I would just never take that trade. Also, I'm talking about this very much because this is the Maggot Lair, and it's going as you expect it to go. But yeah, if I get to choose between double res boots with like 30 MF or War Travelers, I am always taking the double res boots. I end up gambling a circlet as well, and I end up getting a jeweler's circlet of the whale, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, why is this on a circlet? These mods are one of the most wanted combination of mods in the game, and I end up getting it on a circlet which can only get 2 sockets, and this properly pissed me off at the time. I mean, I've been wanting to get one of those on an armor for like 10-15 years at this point, and I know you can shop them, but that's too much trouble for me. I just want to find them. Even on a 3-socket helm I would have been very happy with this, but it's not a 3-socket helm, it's a 2-socket helm, so yeah. And with that we head towards the Arcane Sanctuary, where I find a Jeweler's Dusk Shroud. I do end up killing the Summoner, and with that we head towards Duriel for the final time, who we just very easily annihilate. And then comes the hardest part of this run, the final 3 acts. Act 3, 4 and 5 in Hell are just filled to the absolute brim with lightning immunes. And because we are dealing mostly only lightning damage, that is a problem. So we end up having to jab our way through and run our way through, but I get stuck here. So I get to do it all over again, but I do end up making it towards the sewers, where I find a unique cask, which is a steel skull. But yeah, even on Hell the council just evaporates. Well, at least the fire immune part does that. One part is lightning immune and one part is fire immune, so we get rid of the fire immune part. And this is what it looks like if you want to fight the lightning immune part of the council. So I end up just ignoring them and running into the rounds of hay, where I encounter this pack of conviction cursed dolls. Then I almost lose my life anyway to a bunch of dolls, and with that we head towards Mephisto again, who, I mean, just look at this, it's kind of stupid how much damage we're dealing actually. I mean, this is Hell Mephisto, one of the 3 brothers of the Legions of Hell. The main dude for Diablo 4, and we're just like, yeah, we're gonna kill you anyway. And then once again it's time for the pokies, because, well, yeah, lightning immune's a bitch and there's so many of them. And then we get to our final Hellforge for this run, and we end up getting a rune, and we get stuck in this little corner, but at least our mercenary is dealing reasonable damage. And when things aren't lightning immune, you can just obliterate them. I mean, just like this, poke, 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 and go on slaughter size. Same for Diablo, just walk up and poke him in the nuts. And that was Diablo. Oh, also Fanaticism Lancers are scary, I took a lot of damage there. But when things aren't lightning immune, they are barely a threat. I mean, just look at these ghosts as well, just gone, like a ghost. Oh, I decided to use the evil urn here, which was dumb because this spawns. And I almost died, like that could have gone so fucking wrong there. And once again it's time for the lightning immune, so we are just going to run along and leave the game because of those Fanaticism Aura Deathlords. I also find a Jalal's. which is a very cool item. This is a 188 defense, Jalal, the rest of them are always the same, so I end up doing what I want to do with it, which is sell it to Lazuk. I also find a unique amulet, and here you can really start to tell that because I'm wearing a bunch of MF, I just find a lot of stuff. I also find a Grim Helm, and this is really me this is just me snowballing out of the power level the game is able to handle. At this point I'm just like, well, I can basically walk up and kill everything. So once it's not lightning immune, it's just not really a threat, so we go ahead and charge Tricolic down. In the meanwhile, we work our way through Talik as well. If you want to make Talik stop whirlwinding, just go towards the edge of the map, and if you aim it right, he should never whirlwind because he's scared of falling off the map for some reason. I mean, I guess he doesn't know that the developers just made it so you can't fall off a map. I don't think he knows. I don't think he read the patch files. But with him being Spectral Hit and Teleportation, I'm basically like, I can tank him no problem. Which usually is not a great idea, but it is what it is. And he comes back for the final round, so now we're split up, which is fine. And I almost die, but it's fine. It's totally fine. Totally fine. No one saw that. So yeah, the whirlwind is pretty dangerous, even though I'm like underplaying it quite a bit here. And for Maddock, once again, we just poke him down. It's gonna take for bloody ever, but just get him in a corner. The Atmos triggers as well, which makes this a lot nicer. And then we just poke him down. And with the ancients done, it's time to encounter some souls, because why wouldn't I? And the best tip I can give you for this is just use a ground if you have it. And if you can, just take them on one at a time. Same goes for the fiends, just split them up, take them on one at a time. Take your time, don't be afraid of taking like an hour to get to the world stone. Because sometimes it looks like this and you're like, fuck this. I mean, I just walked into the Throne of Destruction there and I got shot on by both sides, and it's like, well, okay, it's gonna be like that, is it? So there goes my life total again, but we do end up making it through to the Minions of Destruction, and with that we head towards the Bale fight one final time. But as you can tell, even on Hell, the Bale fight is just... Charge Strike is so unbelievably stupid powerful. And one other thing it's really fun. I can highly recommend this build. This build is great to play. And if you have like a Sunder Charm or a lower resist one, definitely use it for Act 3, 4 and 5. And there we have it, Bale goes down. So this is the gear I ended up with. Just a random coronet. Piece, these crafted gloves. This random ass belt, that fire resist ring. And these are the stats. So I'm doing 1 to 2820 per bolt, and if I'm dealing like 10 bolt, that means I'm dealing 28k on lightning damage. And here we have it, Guardian Javazon Prime. Big shout out for watching and thank you. Bye bye.